even the hardest situations can be in your life. You have a choice. And when you start to work around that with small, small steps, you don't start with big breakthroughs. Sometimes people, they're reaching to the point there is a huge breakthrough. But even if you are starting with small steps and through those little steps, you build something bigger. I've noticed this is what I teach as well, people. Don't start changing everything because your nervous system will go crazy. And this is again through my experiences when I was changing things. Sometimes I was through breakthroughs when I was going like, crazy because my nervous system didn't understand, hey, what is this going on here? Why are you changing everything so fast? But I had to, for example. But now I'm a bit smarter regarding that as a clever idea. Okay, don't change everything like rapidly, do step by step. And I've noticed when you create those habits, daily habits, amazing breakthroughs can happen, not fast but big.
Mm. Yeah, one thing I've noticed is that, and maybe it's because I'm a coward, but when I set myself goals, I tend to put them out. I go, I give myself, say, a 5-year goal, and the thing I like about a 5-year goal is that I can dream really big because 5 years long, a lot can happen in 5 years. So I give myself a very big, outrageous goal for 5 years time. So I now have the vision in my mind, but I'm not challenged right now, this moment, because hey, it's 5 years away. And then
Yeah.
I go, well, what's one small thing I could do today? And I think that, and then you go, what small? And if you then do one small thing every day, you talked about those daily habits. I mean, that the momentum of that. Oh, so I suppose that what I'm saying is, will I then have achieved my outrageous goal in 5 years' time? Possibly, maybe not. But I will be in a radically different place if every day in those 5 years I've gone, what's one small thing I can do there? And you've compounded that 365 days a year, 5 years. Like, the shift is going to be enormous for most people.
Yes. And I feel from experience and actually mentoring other people, I've noticed everything starts with your emotions.
Okay.
If you think about this, so what creates emotion? It's your thought. Your emotion creates your decisions. Your decisions creates your actions, and your actions creates your results.
Hmm.
So this is the how our body works. So if we start with our thoughts and emotions, we can really achieve a lot. But I've noticed lots of people have challenges with their emotions. They don't know what they are, how they work, how to actually deal with emotions. It's almost like those emotions are taking over
Hmm.
certain people. And after when you are emotional, what kind of decisions you can make.
Yeah.
And most of people when they make decisions, because that's how we actually do everything in our life, if somebody cuts our emotions, we are not able to make any decision. This is our driver.
Hmm.
So the important thing is, first of all, to understand your emotions. So that's why I lead lots of trainings or um, lots of programs, and always I implement starting with emotions, naming them, for example, as an understanding. What actually are you? What's your emotion?
Hmm.
And most people actually find it hard to name the emotion.
Hmm.
They're absolutely disconnected from where is the next thing? Where is your emotion? Where does it appear? It's not in your head,
Yes. You feel it in your body.
in the body. And then what happens if you don't process that emotion?
Hmm.
It gets stuck. And then when you get stuck, you feel the blockages.
Yeah.
What happened then with those blockages if you don't work on them regularly, or on the daily basis, even like regulation? I'm talking about the auto regulation of those emotions. It's fascinating because I've noticed like so many situations when those emotions stored in the body, not being released, not being worked out. So how people then respond? Either they blow up,
Hmm.
shout, frustration, anger, even aggression, or they suppress.
They shut down.
Yeah, the shutdown system, absolutely. And then it's fascinating to watch that, because I've experienced when, for example, uh, I I was suppressing my anger, because I was this person. I was thinking, oh, I'm in that Zen woman now, so I
Yeah.
can't express anger. But
Yeah.
actually, anger, it's a beautiful emotion,
Mm.
because anger will always push you if you use it very, very wisely. It will push you to make a change. It will make like an action. It's a super driver if you know how to use it. But if you don't manage your anger, it can start to become and go to the aggression, which is not cool at all. So you see, this is a very important thing. I think emotions are amazing and they are so important. Either whatever you do in life, in business, always it starts with emotions.
So it's interesting because I agree with you entirely, and I think there's a huge problem in society with people not being connected with their emotions, not knowing how to express their emotions, whether that's an expression of love or an expression of hate. Often relationships are damaged because one person is not able to express their feelings and their love for someone, for their spouse, their partner, their children, their friends. They're unable to express that. But also, then people who lean into anger cause a lot of damage as well. You talked about the emotions coming from thought, and so I'm just thinking about anger for a moment.
Mhm.
So when we feel anger, often the experience of it often is that it goes straight to anger. There is no thought. So I'm trying to pick a situation. You're in a situation, something happens, and for people who are really in that emotive state, they seem to explode straight into anger. So I'm sure thought is somewhere along the path, but does that make sense to you? It's like
Yes,
it's
yes, yes.
zero to anger. There's no.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is. Yeah.
You see, the thing is, if you feel the emotion, is because your body produces that whatever the chemicals to feel that emotion. So usually you feel the emotion 3 seconds. That's it. But what creates that emotion? Always it's a thought. It's a thought of the thought, let's call it opinion of the situation. So think about this. Somebody says something to you or to someone, and you had a split second of that thought, oh, what a bad
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
How dare he talks to me? Whatever it is, creates that anger. The thing is why it's so catchy here. We are not aware of our thoughts
Okay.
because it's there.
Yeah.
Always creates first, but we are not aware because it goes so fast. Our body picks it up because it's so fast.
Mm.
It's 3 seconds
Instant. It's
for your
instant. Yeah.
emotion.
Yeah.
It's instant. That's why practicing mindfulness awareness is the key to catch those thoughts.
Mm.
I've done this training a while ago, and I must say it was fascinating to watch my thoughts. I couldn't catch my thoughts first. I
Yeah.
was catching quickly my emotions. I was like, oh, why am I angry?
Yeah.
Why am I frustrated with this? And then when I start to backtrack, oh, what am I thinking about this? And it's usually one sentence, whatever your opinion, your belief, anything about that, it will target that emotion. And of course, you see, if you talk about the split second emotion like anger, it's perfect. But if it comes to the frustration, it's already a state,
Mm.
a feeling which is long
Yeah.
time there. So it
Chronic.
means,
Yeah.
yes, it's like a build up.
Yeah.
So think about if you practice the awareness of what are you actually thinking about this, it will really amazingly open up something. It's like, wow, I'm thinking about this. And many times we have thoughts which don't even belong to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're our parents, grandparents, neighbors, aunties, um, uh, environment, whatever we've heard on TV. It's fascinating because I have so many clients coming to me, and when I ask them, "Where did you hear this first?"
Mm.
"Oh, my grandmother was telling me this."
Mm.
"Oh, my mother was telling me, oh, I shouldn't do this," or this and that. It's just fascinating. They don't even realize they think it's theirs.
And I suppose the interesting thing is, if we're not aware of the thought and we jump straight into the emotion, then we don't have that opportunity. We don't have the opportunity to examine the thought and go, hold a sec. do I really believe that? Do I really think it's true? And if we have that moment of where we can actually look at the thought, we can go, well, A, do I want that thought? Is it serving me? And two, is it actually mine? I mean, do I
Yes.
really do I really believe that? I find sometimes though it was interesting you say how quickly that we don't notice the thought because it's 3 seconds or whatever. It's so quick into our body. But I think sometimes what happens then is that we don't notice the thought. It's straight into our body. We feel it in our body, and now we own it. We hold on to it. I think what happens is I think it goes back into our thoughts then, and so now our mind starts going over and over again, and we don't experience the emotion. So instead of experience the hurt, the sadness, the anger, the fear, instead of actually dwelling in that, we go back to our thoughts to kind of
Yes.
analyze it. And I think that when you end up in the emotion, which is what happens to us a lot of the time because we're human beings and we're not all Zen monks, I think what's powerful is to what I try and do is to recognize, okay, I'm now in that emotion. It's hurt, whatever the emotion is, I'm in that, and now what I try to do is experience that without getting back on the edge. Because I think when you experience that in your body, it then it processes. You feel hurt or whatever. Well, feel it and let it go. How long will it last? It won't last that long, I think, unless you go back into spinning thoughts and you go, oh yeah, it's what Gosia said. She shouldn't. And now you're into a story. Oh, and it goes on forever. And now 3 years later, I won't
Yeah.
talk to you.
Yeah, you still think about this. You
Yes,
still think
exactly.
about this, and you hold the grudges or whatever. It's wonderful you say that, because I can, so whoever is listening to this, guys, this is not the end. You can make a change and you can learn this. This is not like something like for some special people. Absolutely not. Everybody can learn this, because it's almost you need specific tools to really deal with this situation. Number one, I can share with you a very simple technique. It's called stop. Number S, stop. Literally, when you have some kind of situation, when you get emotional, you stop. Then uh, uh, T, as a letter T, take a breath. You take a breath,
Feel
and
better
you
already.
exactly, and it's for free.
Yes.
By the way, it's for free. So you take a breath. Then it's O, observe, watch your feelings, emotions, your thoughts. Then P, which means proceed, make a decision what you're gonna do about that. And this simple techniques called stop, you can use it anytime, and that's already practice of awareness and retraining your pattern of actually quick action reaction, because it's all about the action reaction.
Mm,
And if you can pause for even couple of seconds, because I'm not talking about doing this technique for like an hour,
mm.
it's a 20 seconds practice. Stop, take a breath in, observe, and then proceed. And notice, do I want to proceed with anger, with let's say with a reaction of saying something nasty to the person, or am I actually, is that worthy for me? Is that actually, do I want to waste my energy here?
Does
So
it
you
serve me?
consciously, yes, you consciously make a decision. So you see how much power you get back.
Mm.
You decide for yourself, am I gonna go for it, or actually no, not, I'm not wasting my energy. So it gives you lots of confidence, by the way, self-confidence, that you have power to make that decision.
I think I mean, that's very valuable, and I love that you've laid it down, that STOP, because it makes it easy to remember. And I'm just
Yes.
thinking that often in these situations, and we all have them, look, in personal situations, business situations, where we get into an interaction, always with most with another human being, or we read an email or something, and we we feel the emotion and we react immediately. And when you're in that emotional state, you've moved out of the prefrontal cortex, and now you're into this animal brain making crazy fight or flight decisions, which usually makes the situation worse.
Yes.
And now you react, you start an argument, whatever happens, or you respond in something that spirals into something else, and then you're into a long-term situation. And you're right, that 20, even if you only do that for 20 seconds, that pausing for 20 seconds, I think you may say 20 seconds later, you will still feel the upset or the anger. and you can go, okay, I am upset, I am angry, but how do I choose to respond? How, and you're really, I think you're really redirecting and changing outcomes if you do that. But also, what you're saying is you're rewiring your brain. I mean, the neural pathways in your brain are learning a new way to behave. So if you do that 10, 20, 40, 50 times, your brain is now in a new pattern of, oh, this is how I respond.
Absolutely. And again, I just want to really say here that emotions are not it's not the obstacle.
Yeah.
It's our power. It's our guidance system. If you really reframe the idea of emotions as something, oh, I don't know, I don't like my emotions, as a guidance system, it's like your GPS. It literally, because your emotions will tell you about your boundaries. For example, somebody's crossing the boundary, somebody's actually, it's too much for me. Or, for example, sadness is usually about the loss. I lose something. So this is, I want to relate to what we started at the beginning when you mentioned about, oh, some people don't want to make changes, because usually the change always, always, always is including a loss. And what I mean by this, a loss of something, part of you, which you identify with. And you might, of course, the results can be that you might be breaking up with someone, or maybe the business doesn't go with this person, or maybe the client has to, we finish the contract with the client, whatever it is. We always losing something to gain something else. And if we really take it on board, like, okay, it's a part of life, it's a cycle. Look at the cycle of nature. Tree doesn't cry because the leaves are falling, because it knows somewhere there in the system, whatever in the nature cycle, it will come back. It will bloom again. So it's the same in our life. Whatever we create space for, whatever we decluttering, whatever it's in our life, there is a space for new. And because you grow, you change, something else will come to match the energy of your potential right now, because we're changing our energies as well. If you grow, your energy rise. So obviously what happens on that energy level, so think about this, your old version of yourself is here, your new version of yourself. So you need to match people and situations that will match that energy. So it's a very natural thing. You need to change whatever it has to change, and it will go naturally as well. And sometimes people are just afraid of, because it of course it's sad, it's painful, but it's like grieving, a little bit grieving, and it's about learning how to really use the sadness as a part of our journey too.
It's interesting. We're recording this coming to autumn, and the reflection of this of the change of the seasons. You talked about the leaves falling on the trees. Um, it's useful to I don't think it's easy to recognize that, but it's useful to recognize that if we look at the emotions, what do we talk about them? Anger, fear, upset, hurt, all of these things. The reality is every human being experiences those, loss, all of these things. Every human being experiences those at some point in time. That's just the way it is. Um,
100%.
and it's about, so when we recognize that, we go, well, it's not used to me. Every human being I meet experiences these things as well. It's a question of how it just doesn't make it easy still. I mean, obviously, I'm sitting here and we're having this lovely Zen conversation. I'm going, but if I could not feel anger or not feel loss or not feel hurt, wouldn't that be wonderful? But the reality is, it's the human experience and all those things are necessary. I know certainly I have become better over the years of noticing these experiences, even sadness when it emerges, and just sitting in it and just being with it. And when you sit with it, it tends to, you experience it. You may feel the depth of it, but it moves on and it feels joyful afterwards. But I wish I always had the courage to embrace these things.
But look, this is what makes us alive.
Yeah,
This what makes us really human being with that amazing experience we have. And of
mm,
course, I had my times when I was absolutely like dragging
yeah,
myself of frustration, whatever. But
mm,
I need to really emphasize this. don't stay on your own with your emotions.
Mm.
Don't, if you feel it's taking too much space, energy, and it's really overwhelming, don't do it yourself. Go to someone who knows what to do with it. I'm not saying don't throw it on your family, friends, whatever, because they might not have capacity to
Yes.
hold the space for you, but go to someone who knows what to do with it. That's why the environment, who you're hanging around,
Mm.
go to mentors, coaches, therapists, whatever, whoever it is, that will support you in that journey. Because I have my mentors over so many years and I still go because I support people, but who's supporting me? Once you have that in your embedded in yourself, like, it's okay. And this is another thing, I allow myself to have support, because we have this tendency saying, I'm strong, I have to be strong,
Yeah.
I can do it. Lovely. And I'm not saying you cannot, but at the same time, have support of someone who can hold the space for you when you can actually cry out, release that anger, whatever it is, and then get the tools. Okay, what's next? So you have space to release it, but in the same time, then you get the tools, you can do it, whatever you need to do it in your life.